This session will be focusing on how you go from complex physical science forecast information and data to appropriate, useful and usable information for decision makers, using the case study example of what we learned in the LANDSLIP project developing landslide forecast bulletins. So how do you do it? What are the processes to follow to develop good decision-making products? Firstly, you need to understand the context and your users. You need to think about who your users are. Institutional mapping can help here. For example, in most regional landslide early warning systems, these are typically civil protection or local municipal government. You need to understand what is useful to them. You need to take a co-production approach, working alongside and with your users throughout the process. You need to be clear on what the science can and cannot do, the uncertainties, and what is good enough for users, and be transparent with them. Who needs to be in the team should be established very early on, not only accounting for physical science skills and expertise such as hydrology, meteorology, geology, etc., but also a range of social science expertise and practitioner experience. I cannot stress enough the importance of relationships, whether building on existing ones or consciously and actively developing new ones, particularly through face-to-face meetings, field trips and working together. These will help develop trust and a deeper understanding and appreciation of the forecasts. Developing preparedness plans and protocols for issuing forecast information will save time, effort and reduce mistakes in the long run. And ultimately, it takes a long time to develop forecast information for decision makers. It is an iterative process and should be never ending. This is important for continually evaluating and improving forecast information you are producing. So what ultimately goes into the end product will vary depending on the context, the user needs and the science capability, but some considerations can include thinking about the formats. For example, is it PDF, digital, web-based, email, SMS, app or voice message? Think about the channel. Who is it coming from? Who is it going to? And how is it being transferred? Consider the trust between the producers and the users. Think about language, the literacy levels of users, avoid jargon, be clear, and think about the user's primary or native language. Think about effective use of visuals to convey spatial information or layering information, accompanying it with text, and think carefully about the use of colour. Think about the layout of the product, including summary information and controlling the flow of increasingly complex information. And finally, think about content and whether to include exposure, vulnerability, impact information, and/or advice. Creating useful forecast or early warning information for decision makers is challenging, but really worth the effort to ensure useful, usable, and used forecasts. Thank you, and I look forward to discussing this topic with you.